Good evening. The old man here, November 15th, 2024. Today was the first day of Michigan whitetail season. I've heard of some guys having some good success. That's fantastic. A little slow in the shop today, but to be expected. Most of the guys are out in the woods. But all in all, good day. Had time for some really good conversations. That's always fun. What I want to talk about today is the US dollar and money. Money is gold and silver. That's it. It's something that the government can't inflate. It's mined at a certain rate every year. Typically, that does not expand very fast. Even with newer and better technologies, it's still about the same rate of expansion every year, of which is very minimal compared to how many more people are in the world every year. So all in all, it's pretty damn stable, the amount of gold and silver. However, silver is consumed quite a bit. Obviously, more and more with solar panels, electric cars, infrastructure, bombs, missiles, whatever. Anything that requires electronics uses silver. So mostly what I want to talk about is gold, but silver does come into the play as well. Pre-1933, gold was our money in the U.S. and across the world, really. Every sovereign nation had their own coinage, and that coinage was in gold and silver. Some called it at times a bimetal standard. Honestly, we were on a gold standard. Pre-1933, you could take $20 to the bank and trade it for a $20 gold piece. Well, what's the significance of that? Well, anytime you felt that the good U.S. government was wasting your money, or wasting money, period, through collecting taxes and wasting money, and that could be on wars or whatever, you could go to the bank, trade your $20 in for a $20 gold piece, put that away, and the U.S. government couldn't inflate that $20 gold piece. It's yours. It's always going to be worth the same amount, whether, for example, if you had $20 in 1933, $21 bills in 1933, and you had one $20 gold piece in 1933, and you carry them both over to today, the $20 is going to buy you very little. Them $21 bills, obviously, we all know, won't even buy you a bag of groceries. Hell, it probably won't even buy you a third of a bag of groceries, for Christ's sakes. But yet that $20 gold piece today is worth over $2,600. Now the gold price fluctuates. Here not too long ago, it had been worth over $2,700. Today, I think it's just over $2,600. But regardless, you get the idea. The $20 of U.S. money of the time, or the U.S. dollars of the times, isn't worth anything today. Well, why is that? Well, its value has been deflated, or inflated, actually. Or the money supply has been inflated. The dollar's price has been degraded. At any rate, in 1933, by executive order, Franklin Delano Roosevelt banned the ownership of gold for all U.S. citizens. You were supposed to turn in your gold. And they would give you, you turn in a $20 gold piece and they're going to give you $21 bills back, let's say. Okay. Well, I think it was 2 or 3 months later, he took a $20 gold piece that was only worth $20 and raised its value to $35. What does that mean? Well, That means he inflated the money supply. In other words, if you had $20 in your pocket pre-1933, and that even $21 bills pre-1933, and after that executive order of inflating the money or making gold worth $20 an ounce or $35 an ounce, now it would take $35 to buy the same thing that it would have pre that executive order. Okay, so that was just the beginning. Governments and banks do not like gold and silver. They've been manipulating it ever since. They got to keep the price down to make the dollar look stronger. They can do that through large banks in the futures market. All they got to do is short the futures, shorted in the futures with billions in dollars of shorts on it, and that keeps the price of silver and gold down. The reason they do that is they don't want you to keep gold or silver as your savings account. They want you to keep your money in the bank or invested in something like the stock market, which is just a derivative of the US dollar, of which is being inflated away every day. You see the stock market going up in value. Well, is it really going up in value, or does it just cost more? In 2020, there was a study that was out that showed that 20% of U.S. corporations were zombie corporations. What does that mean? That means that they couldn't even pay the interest on their debt. But since the bank owned so much of that debt, they didn't want to take the losses. So instead of taking the losses on their books, of which would have collapsed the banks, they decided to loan them corporations more money just to keep them floating. They loaned them enough money to pay their interest on their debt. That's it, nothing else. So again, it's just a zombie corporation. It's not making money, it's losing money, but the banks and the government's covering it up. So what happens here in the near future? Well, let me back up a little bit. For the last 20, I would say, well, some will say 16 years. I say at least 20 years. The powers that be, let's say the New World Order and the deep state, have been working on resetting our money. Okay, the Great Reset. The only way that's been in plan, you can't take it too fast. You don't want people to know what's going on. You don't want people to realize what's going on. And at the end of the day, I think you're going to see it fairly shortly, is the bond market, the stock market, and the US dollar is going to collapse all at the same time. Therefore, the Great Reset. And through that, they will give you great things to help you. Oh my God, this shouldn't have happened to the U.S. economy. We're going to blame it on the Russians, or we're going to blame it on the Chinese, or some other phantom enemy of the U.S. But we're here to save you. The U.S. central banks are going to roll out, in that case, would roll out a digital currency. Well, thank God Trump got elected, because he ain't going to go for that shit. However, at the end of the day, this reset has been in play. It's been in progress for quite a long time. It's just like a ship. You're not going to stop it. Once it's going full throttle, it would take miles and miles and miles to stop. This has been steered into the mountain, and we're going to crash. That's all there is to it. Nobody's going to stop it. Donald Trump isn't going to stop it. Even if he wanted to stop it, he can't stop it. The fact of the matter is, I think he knows all about it. Him and the Patriots know all about their Great Reset. I know they do, in fact. And they've got plans for it. They've got big changes coming in the United States. However, most people don't want change. So the only way to implement these changes, and especially the big changes that we're going to see, is you got to let the system crash. If we had another Biden administration or Harris administration, they would obviously let it crash, and then out of the ashes, they would bring you CDBCs as your savior, saying, well, you know, here's your CDBC account, you know, we're going to use it as you can use your face identification on your phone. We're going to allot you so much money. And at the end of the day, we're going to tell you how to spend it. You've got so much time to spend it, and whatever else. Or if you're doing something we don't like with our CDBC, we can shut your bank account down at a moment's notice. It's just that corrupted, just that, that's basically what the Chinese are doing to their citizens right now. They tell their citizens where they can work, how far away from home they can live, or how far away from work they can live, whether they need a car, they don't need a car. Mostly they don't need a car. They get them living close enough to work, they don't need a car. They want to eke out every bit of energy they can out of those people to make products that make them richer. So they don't want them driving 30 miles to work or 50 miles to work. And that's what all these EVs and shit are about too. They don't want you burning up fossil fuels and what have you. It's just a bunch of bullshit at any rate. But getting back to Trump, I think if you listen to everything he says, I've been listening to him for a long time, since he started running for 2016. I've been listening to him, kind of taking in what he says, kind of just plugging that little pieces in the back of my mind, things he's talked about, the directions he wants to go, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, boil down to all the rhetoric. When he can't expose everything he wants to tell you, just because that'd give the deep state and or the world powers a heads up that he knows what's going on. And that's the last thing you want your enemy to know, that you're in a place of strength instead of a place of weakness. They think they're going to blindside them, and honestly, they don't have a fucking clue what's going on. They're just a bunch of goddamn idiots. They think they're just too damn smart, that nobody knows. Trump's a buffoon, what have you. But at the end of the day, this is going to have to crash. Instead of getting CDBCs, I think we're going back to the Constitution. We're going to restore law and order. We're going to secure our borders. We're going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Hardly anybody realizes the resources we've got here in this country. Trump's brought it to your attention during his 4 years. We're oil independent. We don't need to buy that shit from everywhere else. Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive to, to get it out of the ground here versus somewhere else. But at the end of the day, if we're putting that money back into our economy instead of some Arab's economy, it makes a hell of a lot more sense. If we bring manufacturing back to the United States, we got some really good high-paying jobs. You'll get good, strong unions again, instead of the crap they call unions today. They're just sellouts to their people. The people pay them, and they turn around and sell them out. Look at NAFTA and some of these other agreements. It's just a big-ass sellout, and they tell their people what to do, and they blindly do what they're told, and they don't question it at all, for the most part. Of course, there's a few people that do pay attention, but for the most part, they don't. They just do what they're told, and of which has been a big mistake over the years. But at the end of the day, I think you'll see, When I say, you know, we're going to go back to the Constitution, that means in the Constitution it says shall be no money other than gold and silver. Okay, if you go back to a gold and silver standard, what does that mean? That means governments have to be, our government anyways, has to be financially responsible or fiscally responsible, and they can't just print money out of nowhere. Okay, so you might ask, well, what's going to happen to all the debt? Well, that debt is all owed to who? The central banks. What if he declares, or the Supreme Court that he appointed mostly, declares the U.S. debt note unconstitutional? If he declares, or that the Supreme Court rules that debt note is unconstitutional, it's a way of defaulting, but at the end of the day, we don't owe nobody nothing. I tell all these other countries, go pound sand. Okay, and we start from scratch. And if you think we need these other countries to survive, you're absolutely mistaken. We've got everything we need right here in this country. The only thing is that everybody's going to have to pull together and bust some ass. And you know, anytime there's a disaster, look at the people that come out of the woodwork and get shit done, as long as the government don't get in their way. Well, that's one thing about the DOGE, however, whatever that acronym is standing for, I don't recall now. Department of Economic, whatever. At any rate, they're going to get rid of a lot of the bureaucracy. I don't think many people know that the government has more jobs than all the corporations in the United States put together. Now, the rest of these jobs are all small business and entrepreneurs working for themselves. But all the manufacturing jobs, that's what it was. The U.S. government has more people employed than all manufacturing jobs in the United States put together. That's the stat I meant to quote. Close, but no cigar. But at any rate, that's an awful lot of people. And you got to believe, you know, they're talking about, cutting all these people and how they could save trillions. Well, when you realize that a lot of these people are like the people in Twitter that were just, not only were they just a burden or a liability, they were not creating revenue at all. Not only are they that, but they are also doing everything they can to sabotage this country. So it's not just their paycheck, okay, that we're going to save. It's all the money or everything they do to sabotage the system. So that'll be just freaking huge. If you could cut the government jobs in half, there's so many of them jobs that don't even need to be at all. But then there's so many of them jobs that also could be privatized. The one thing about all these privatized jobs, whether it be security or whatever it is, they run efficiently. They got to make money. They got to be competitive. Okay, that means if you don't play ball and you don't produce, you're looking for a job. When's the last time you heard of the government laying anybody off or firing anybody? They don't. So no matter how much of a burden somebody is and no matter how little they produce, the government keeps them on. And then, I guess we need to just hire another person. We'll set that guy back in the corner. I mean, he don't get much done, but what the hell, we can't fire him, right? All right. Basically for tonight, that's what I got to say about gold and silver. I think we're going back to the Constitution, and in that case, gold and silver is going to be very important. In the meantime, you got to know that in a reset like we're going to see, that it's going to take preps. You're going to need to be able to take care of yourself. You're going to need to have food, water, cleaning supplies, whatever, to stay sanitary. Very, very important to stay healthy. And speaking of healthy, you need to become as healthy as possible in the meantime. Part of the reason why, I mean, I went on a carnivore diet. I've lost a significant amount of weight. I can feel it. You know, I haven't stepped on a scale, but I can feel it. My joints, and whether it be my knees and my hips and my ankles, my feet, they're all telling me that I'm much lighter than I was before, and it's a lot easier to move and get up and whatever, more limber, less short of breath. You know, all of those things are important. And, you know, it's something I should have done a long time ago, but now's time as good as any. So, good night, folks. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. Bye.